after the Dancing Stars model.
Oh,
So
okay.
local folks fundraise and then they dance
Oh, nice.
with a professional at the gala. And so those guys raise.
Oh, they
their
did?
goal's $3 million this year.
Oh my gosh.
Just here in Georgia. Yeah.
We're live.
Oh, awesome.
We're live, so let's see if there's. We'll see if someone's in there. Or there's one person actually in too. Hey. So I'll probably show them the tech table a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Oh. You got that. You can see that. There. It's 12:45. Let's see what we have online here. Okay. Is that you, Sabrina? Okay, you can almost see the screen there. Okay, move that out a little bit. Okay, we're getting set up. Where we're set up, we're waiting for people to arrive. Call Sabrina.
Calling Sabrina Huff.
Hey, Sabrina. Hey, are you the one online? Oh, okay. How does everything look? You can't see the screen, I know. Oh, you can't? Okay, good. Did you figure out the moderation? Okay. Okay, good. So let's see. So cool. So people still, they haven't come in yet. Let's see. Yeah, so they're still coming in. So you see me waving? Powerful. I can't see you. No. Hopefully you try to get some people in the room too, you know? All right. Talk to you later, okay? All right. Hi, nice to look at you.
I'm staying here for just a minute, make sure.
Okay.
They get off the elevator. Unless you need me there, I'm gonna treat things.
Oh, no good. I'm just giving you the camera. The video, little video. How are you doing? All right. Yeah, Maria, okay, yes.
Nice to meet you.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, I read the elevator. I was going to go up to every floor to figure out. Yeah.
I'm glad you found it. So you come on in here.
Yes.
If you need the ladies' room, it's right around this corner.
Fabulous. Thank you.
The dementia care specialist of
The Atlanta Regional.
the Atlanta. Yes. And you know Katrina Obey,
Yes,
Northeast Georgia.
I
So
do.
there's our tech table. If you just sign in right here. There.
Hey, welcome. Welcome back. Good, how are you? Great. We got presentations today.
Thank you.
Hey, sir. How are you doing?
Good to
Hey,
see
stranger.
I know, it's been a minute.
I know.
You all right?
All right. Yeah, just fine. Yeah.
Did you have a good
So,
Thanksgiving?
yes. Oh, wonderful.
Anywhere particular you want me to sit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And sign in right here. You
Okay.
can sit anywhere you want to.
Okay.
Just gonna put your bags down. And so this is the setup we do with the family caregivers.
Okay.
You know, have water for them. Some places, like mentally, we'll start actually having snacks and everything as well.
Gotcha.
But I mean, just sign in. And then we have tech tables, so some of the technology, some a little advanced, but basically we want to keep it pretty common and accessible to people to know that they can use the technology and it's there for them. And that it's easy to get. And like, we have the assistive technology in Northeast Georgia, where they can call in, and you guys have one too, right? Yeah.
Yes,
I've
I
got to
think
get that
so.
number.
I don't know what it is, but I think we do have it.
Yeah. Like Georgia Tech Office Assistant.
Oh, yeah.
So these are the scales, which are scales. This is one device. This is our device on HeartBeatFam platform, where it has cognition gains and coordination tools built on it. And we're going to also talk about some AI wearables today, some different things, different technologies. Yeah, cool. And we also usually teach people how to use the blood pressure monitor as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So just kind of have a seat. I'm more than people are coming. One thing that we do is, you see this back table here?
Yep.
We have Northeast Georgia information, but we would have the local for that area, their information.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you know Andy, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been at a few conferences together.
Nice.
You know what?
Of course, we gotta have our cat. We just named him Mittens.
Oh, gosh.
I know. Hey, how are you doing?
Linda
Nice to meet you.
Davidson.
Nice to meet you, Linda
Good to
Savalas.
meet you.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you
as
for
well.
being here.
Thank you. Oh, could you sign in there? Sign in right here.
Of course.
Just so we get like a little bit of attendance.
Sure.
I'm not inside to do introductions. This is Linda Davidson, our executive director.
Yeah.
Did she share? Okay.
Yeah, I know. I know. No, I think the greetings is best, yeah.
All right.
And this is some of the technology we're
Wow.
covering.
I recognize some of it.
Looks familiar, right? Unfortunately, not all family caregivers do. Right.
Well, there's some I don't. I recognize the watch, but,
Yeah.
or the finger, that sort of thing, but
Yeah,
it's good to see.
and we educate families on how to use the the blood pressure monitor.
Makes sense,
Yeah,
because they probably don't even think about it.
right.
Do you want me to put 28 here since it was hiding?
The
Number 28 was hiding behind.
oh really? Okay, you can put it there. Yeah. I'm like, it was not even to say because I laid them out.
Should we go ahead and do this?
Oh, the pre-survey? Yeah, if you want.
Yeah.
Yes, please. That'd be great. Just kind of want to get a small assessment.
Yes, I'm sorry. Oh, good.
You guys don't mind a little gospel music?
Sounds good.
So my favorite song.
Good. How are you? Right, I'll find Matt Rush 3 weeks. It was nice. It's taken care of. She only did her whole, so it was nice to be here and be there. Family stuff and also the house stuff.
I'm gonna wait for a little more, few more people to come in.
Okay, I'm gonna step out right at 2.
It's understandable. Then I'll just rush through everything.
No, you do what you normally do. I didn't want to be rude and step out and not. This is very interesting,
Right.
really.
What do you find interesting about it?
Well, I think we're in a unique situation now. I have a dear friend that has Alzheimer's, and she's been on the Kimby for 17 months, and now the plaques have gone. And so they're gonna put her on a maintenance plan because they're gonna monitor when they come back. But I think there's some things I can learn here because she also has the short-term memory loss. So that's why I'm very interested in finding things that I'm not aware of that might help her. She lives alone.
Okay.
She does have some help coming in, and she is doing very, very well, but she still has the short-term memory issue, and that's never going to change.
Okay. Yes. So something in the meantime.
Yes.
We're gonna be talking about some memory tools. We're also gonna be talking about AI technology.
And that's an area, we were just talking about that yesterday, that I don't know enough of. I mean, I've done some letters with it, but I don't know it in regards to, tools.
What is the power of it, and what it also can be also.
Correct.
Hey, how you doing, Albert? How you doing? Nice to see you as well, man. Hey, yes, me too. Can you sign in?
Yes.
It's right there. And then just take a look at the tech table. And, we have the Minder clock, the Dementia clock on the table.
Right,
Alexa's also good.
and she has an Alexa,
She has the,
right?
she talks to you, right?
Right,
Hey,
but
how you doing?
Alexis isn't always the answer if they say repeat something 4 times.
Right. Oh, my grandmother used to call her Alexa, Alice, and different names.
She's pretty good. If she hears something A, she's gonna
Oh,
answer
yeah.
it.
I did.
Right.
Okay, that was
Just something else. But that's what it should be, for people, if you just start with A, you're good.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. I went down Riverside Drive and they had
Hi.
Hi.
something.
So yeah, take a look at the table and also
Let me
you
get-
all
get
can
here.
sign in. Yeah, if you want to fill out the pre-survey forms right now, that's fine. I'll just do this.
How was the traffic?
Not good, not great. Midday, not great.
Well, I can't move an office, but I will tell you the best part, I can't control the traffic, but it's great to have the parking that we have here.
Oh my gosh.
Once I got
Fantastic.
out of Norcross, it's fine.
Really?
Peachtree Industrial, which I had no idea was shut down to one lane. So I got off until came down the access road and jumped back on 35.
Right.
But,
So,
yeah.
The staff here, some of them are on, it's an hour and a half, depending on, and then you have a day where you're expecting that and there's nothing.
Yeah.
That's Atlanta for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And then information since you were on this.
Pre-event survey.
Ooh, isn't that great? Yeah. Again, like, we have,
Well, there's somewhere already being connected to the Wi-Fi. Yeah.
And this is the, which I said this is new wearable that's coming out. Yeah.
All right, I'll let Jennifer know that the those calendars have been coming in.
Okay, cool.
I thought you did to an office. I'm so glad you're here today.
And I live in Brookhaven, so it's very
Yeah.
far. And I cycle up there as well.
That is
So
great.
I'm not like, I've been going in and out. Just like, that was on that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, I was like, and then when I
It's
saw
a
it,
seamless here with the bell.
Very
exactly what it is.
Free parties.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Everything good. It's been about, what, a month?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Everything going well? How's your Thanksgiving?
And I was sick, so I gave it I didn't feel obligated.
So many people I talked to were sick. Like, my family was sick the entire break.
We had like 3 or 4 people that were sick.
Yep, the same time.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Just fine.
I'll sit between you and me and Linda. Okay, yes, you separate us so that I can make sure y'all behave.
You know, that's funny. I'm in charge of people behaving.
Something seems backwards.
Yeah,
here.
there's something off there, but that's okay.
So we can go ahead and
Okay,
get started.
yeah, I went ahead and let Jennifer know in case somebody comes late,
Get my
open
food real
the door for them, they can come right in to join us if they happen to go to the front door. So you want me to sit with folks?
Yeah.
Get picked up?
How are you?
How are you?
Good.
I know a lot of folks, it's good to get to meet you.
I know. Someone new.
Well, welcome to our office.
I appreciate it.
And,
Thank you.
we're looking forward to your program, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate y'all being here.
You guys remember the last time you can learn something?
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes for
Oh,
sure.
sign in, yes.
All right.
It's a good idea to turn the music down. Y'all don't want to see me like sway and dance to that.
And that's the music therapy app.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Love it. Well, y'all welcome to the Alzheimer's Association office. As I said, I have lots of friends here, I know you guys, but I'm Jill Disney, Senior Director of Programs and Services. We have an online audience, so I'm stating what you all know, but for the purpose of folks that do not know me yet. But we at the Alzheimer's Association, of course, are a nationwide organization that's really invested and interested in making a difference in the lives of those that are impacted by Alzheimer's and dementia. And we do this, of course, through research and advocacy, but we also have a local community presence, like here at the Georgia chapter and here in Atlanta. And it allows us to be able to do things like the program today and to host folks that are exploring new ways to impact this field and to help family caregivers. So I'm looking forward to learning more in today's program, but we know that we can't learn enough about the ways that we can help families because the field is evolving and we can't quite keep up with the technology. So it's good to have someone who's an expert help us to not feel so afraid of the technology and learning, but also how we can, just introduce those helpful tools to folks as we're helping them with their caregiving journey. So we hope that, of course you enjoy the program today, but that you look for ways to get involved at the chapter. We have a lot of involvement, which is wonderful, but we welcome you to reach out if there are other ways that we can support or work with you. So I'm going to take my audience seat now and hand it over.
Great. Thank you so much. And now I'm a little afraid because you said expert. So the key thing is no one can be an expert at technology because there's always something new, and especially with dementia care, changing times. So what we're going to talk about today is technology that helps families and family caregivers. And so welcome to the Dementia Tech Roadshow. Okay, if you guys could just take a moment, if you haven't filled out your surveys, your pre-survey forms, please do that. That's right in front of you. Awesome. While you're filling out that, I'll tell you where my interest came from. You see my grandmother over here. She had dementia for 4 years. We actually found out in the last 2 years, and there are some things we could have done differently. Being an engineer, I started building technology for her, and to help with her cognition, to help her start walking again. I actually had an opportunity to guide her in walking again. And I was also the one taking her to doctor's appointments as well. So built technology around that. And that started the interest of figuring out what technology is available out there. So let's talk about the brain just a little bit. I'm sure all of you guys are familiar, you heard the conversation about the brain. And the brain, there are different sections of the brain. And the different sections of the brain cover different areas in our lives and what we do. Our activities affect our activity of daily living. Part of it is thinking. You see up here the hippocampus. That's usually where the dementia first starts at, especially with Alzheimer's disease. And you can think of the brain as a supercomputer. And with that supercomputer, this is your hard drive. And then your hard drive gets a little faulty when you have dementia. So with that thought of the brain and dementia itself, and all of you guys know, it's not a disease. It's actually a collection of many different diseases. Or it's actually an umbrella term to talk about the different various diseases that there are in dementia. And like I said, there's over 200 more subtypes of dementias out there. And it's really, I know it fits more into the age tech space, but younger and younger people are being affected, especially when it comes to terms of stroke. So I know it's and I want to make sure that our conversation, think of you guys as participants. So we're going to be participating in this. Does anyone have any challenges or situations or loved ones who had dementia? You guys, could you talk a little bit about it? Just want to get an assessment of it. I believe your grandmothers, right? Both of your grandmothers.
Well, I lost my grandmother to dementia. Currently, my mother-in-law has been diagnosed with mild cognitive decline. And we moved her in an assisted living home with her husband, my father-in-law, about a year and a half ago. So thankfully, she could be happier. She's very communicative, but you get the typical repetition of questions.
Right.
But she has not gotten to the point where she doesn't recognize us or remember, our home or where she is or what's going on. So it's truly mild, but I think we're preparing ourselves for what's to come.
For that time.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I feel like my grandmother recognized us until the end of her days.
Wow.
Yeah. She would know. She would call for us, and she would call for us in the middle of the night too. We had behavioral challenges as well. Now, did you guys use any technologies for that, such as a memory clock or dementia clock?
We haven't yet.
You haven't yet? Okay. So there may be some opportunities that we talk about today related to that.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Same as what he just described with my mother, who we just put into assisted living, and all the struggles that go with that is really, when you're declining cognitively, you're trying to hold on to, things that you used to do, paying the bills, which you can't do anymore. But unfortunately, she still recognizes us, but then you have these series of hurdles, and I work in the senior living industry, so I'm aware of it from being a post-acute provider, but now I'm living it again, as a family member. And so the next hurdle is well, we don't know if she can take her medication on her own, but she's like, absolutely not. They're going to make a mistake. I'm doing, So it's all these, hurdles then that you're up against as the decline goes that way, and the hurdles go that way.
Right.
So I'm interested to learn about, I know a little bit about some of the work you've done, but the technology and how that may
Yeah.
help, because she still cognitively, recognizes everyone. She can get on her Facebook on her phone and do all that and put some comments, but, can we trust her taking her own meds anymore? Probably not, and other things decline. So
Interesting.
I think the technology can play a role,
Yeah.
in the things that you're working on to help, as much as possible quality of life and,
Right.
kind
Right,
of.
and you like to say Facebook too. Facebook is technology. Hello, welcome in. Yes, ma'am. Facebook is technology itself, and it could help with the engagement and the quality of life. But it's about using. We're going to talk a lot about this. Using things in the right way. We're going to delve into AI. I want to figure out what you guys feel about AI, but it's about using it in the right way. Bringing in the right tools, for the actual neural management. And getting which part of the brain, that could be like her behavior should be maybe acting out and saying, oh, I can do this, I can take control of this. And it also could be pride too. And those are things that we have to look at. And we have to, and I know you guys have taught sessions on, take care of your loved one and caregiving tips. And we're going to also talk about technology to deliver those caregiving tips out to people as well. So thank you guys so much for sharing. Yeah, that is very, very, very helpful. So when we look at those brains and look at the different parts and whether it's behavior, whether it's vision, I want you guys to think of technology not as the cure. They're like glasses. It's like it can actually help you in your activity of daily living, but it won't necessarily cure that. Now, there are some cognition games when you're learning something new and grow neurons back, and then that's actually part of the curing process. And when you're getting rid of TAW, we were just talking about that too. There's a whole debate on that area too, whether there's cause or effect. And that could be in the curing space too. So technology can be both, but most of the technology we talk about today is assistive technology, which is like your glasses will assist you in seeing, but will not fix anything. So these are the areas that we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about safety devices, GPS trackers, information, because this is top priority for many families. When you look at any survey that families are filling out, this is top, keeping my loved ones safe. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence, and that's where we're going to delve in because we have our own views of it. Talk about cognitive games, which I just mentioned. Talk about wearables and AI wearables. Talk about assistive technology. We have a special guest to talk to us about assistive technology, and you guys can probably guess it. Talk about camera monitoring, which was a great tool that we used with my grandmother, and then we pass that information on word of mouth, and people are excited about that. Memory aids and communication tools that we're going to engage in. So AI. All right, guys. So who enjoys AI? Raise your hand. Okay. Who believes AI is going to take your job? Okay. Maybe because you're building technology for AI to take your job. That's a little inside joke that we have. And who believes that AI is evil? No, exactly.
I think
Yeah.
Elements of evil.
Elements of evil. Ooh, that's good. Elements of evil. AI has elements of evil.
It's funny because we train AI, so what does that say about us?
They're evil
Train
people.
the AI.
Which is exactly right. Which is the point. Like, AI is like a car. It can be used for good. AI is like a lot of things in life. And I know that I brought up evil because our head of clinical strategy went to a Christian camp. And when she mentioned that she works for an AI company, they're like, oh, that's so evil. I don't know if they prayed over or threw water at her or anything, but that's what they did say. And she was trying her best to explain, no, it's not. Yeah. So AI, and AI, just like dementia, is an umbrella term. So, we're talking about machine learning, supervised learning. There's all these different things. Usually AI is when something is passing what we call a Turing test. If you're talking to something and it talks back to you like a human, that's the Turing test, that's artificial intelligence. and it has changed over the years. The AI that you guys are using now, like with ChatGPT, that's generative AI, where it's generating new things. Now it's generating new information based on what you put into it. So you put evil in, you're gonna get evil out. And I'm glad you mentioned about, that AI could be evil, or I actually asked that question. Because I want to show you guys the technology that we've actually built that uses the King James Version of the Bible with AI. And it's called Dear God. Let's see if we can. Okay. Okay, we're not sharing that screen yet. Hold on a second.
It's kind of funny. We're building AI, but 99% of us have issues presenting and clicking links within PowerPoint.
Right. So I'm going to choose a different Chrome tab. Okay. And it should pop up.
There we go.
Here it is. Okay, let's take a look here, guys. So for this, I'm going to need a volunteer. I would like a volunteer. Not everyone raise your hand at once. Who would like to come up? Okay, let me explain what it is first.
Yeah.
Okay, this is our Dear God application, and it's actually on the App Store. It's on the Android App Store. What it is, it takes the version of the King James Bible as the source, and then it takes your input, and then it gives you output with the scripture. So you just tell it your situation. You just talk to it.
Really?
So that's all it's doing.
Leslie's mind's
She
blown.
did try it. Jill did try it earlier. Would anyone else like to try it? Just tell me what you want.
So it's not a question. I will say that was my hesitancy.
Right.
I was overwhelmed because I thought I was asking a question.
Right.
But you're just writing a note
To God.
to God.
And you're writing it to AI. You're writing it to AI.
Yes.
And AI is using God's words to formulate the answer.
Correct.
Okay? So it's keeping you close to the Bible.
With scriptural support.
Right. So it sounds like you volunteered. No, I'm just kidding. No, anybody would like to?
So you need like a problem?
Anything. Just talk what
Can
you
you
like,
give
dear
an
God.
example of what we did? Because I think that would help.
Okay, I'll give you something.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a parent of a 3-year-old stubborn toddler and a 10-month angel girl. And I have found myself in the last week or so in situations where
So 12 month?
a 10-month-old, 10 months today actually, old baby girl. I found myself in the last few weeks in a position where my parenting, I feel like, has been compromised because the toddler just doesn't listen. And I found myself in a situation where I am not parenting to my best capabilities because I can't deal with the stress of it.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't get
I
any
know.
better.
So I need to practice patience, which I have very little patience for once I get home from work. And I
Would
want
you hold
to
me just a second?
yes.
He's
Sorry.
got to catch up. We need a voice to text.
I'm not AI.
I'm myself in a position where
God's like, hold on now.
Yeah, exactly.
This prayer is
okay,
going
so-
fast.
So
Yeah.
my patience has been tested.
Okay. Okay.
And I would like to improve my general parenting in
Okay.
these situations. That's like a common problem. Let's see what it says.
Yeah.
So now what's happening is that it's sending that message up to the code that we've actually built. And where we're pulling from the King James Version of the Bible, and it's combining that information with the information that you just put into it. So now, so you have a response back. scroll down. Not sure if you're gonna be able to. There it is.
Oh, it speaks to me.
How do they
Yeah.
read it?
Wow.
So let me see. So you can't hear the volume here, but it does speak to you. But let's read through it. Do you want to do it?
Yeah, let me get a little closer.
Okay, cool. So everybody understand what just happened, right? Robert just put in a message. It sent that information up to what we program with AI to pull from the King James Version of the Bible as our source. And this is the response that it's getting.
Dearest heartbeat, do not lose hope with the Lord's guidance. You can overcome these parenting challenges and build a stronger, more fulfilling relationship with your children. And then quoting the Bible, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Remember, heartbeat, you are not alone in this journey. With God's help, your unwavering love for your children, you can create fulfilling and joyful family life. So then it gives you, are those actions that I should do after that?
Right.
Okay, so number one, seek God's guidance through prayer and study of His Word.
How does that sound to you?
Good. In my mind, like, is that number one on?
Oh, priority? This guy's.
No, not priority. Like on every response. Like, is that like a
Oh, no,
general
no, it's not,
Uh-uh.
this is not a general response, no.
It wasn't earlier, yeah.
It wasn't earlier.
Okay. Establish clear rules and consequences. Oh, that's what I did last night.
So you're doing something right.
Yeah. Establish clear rules and consequences for your children. Respond to misbehavior with patience, love, rather than anger or frustration. Okay, I'll work on that. Use positive
very
reinforcements
honest.
such as praise or words to encourage good behavior. Definitely rewards and a lot of bribing. I've been using bribing. I probably need to get rid of. It's like, hey, if you eat your pancake, I swear.
It doesn't say bribing.
No, I
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
Seek support from other parents, family members, or parenting group. Got it.
Isn't it? Yeah. So when we look at AI, it can be used for good and it can be used for evil. But when we're talking about AI and dementia care, we want to use it for good. I'm going to select, I'm going to put the slides here. Tabs. So how did you feel about that response?
It was really interesting. Yeah. I mean, I like how you were able, by training it with the Bible, you were able to solicit like well-positioned answers.
So imagine you training it with dementia care. And when you get back to loved ones at home. I'm just going to get your minds just down in that area. So the future of AI and dementia care, or just care in general, I imagine a world where we actually have a robotic arm by every patient's bed, and can actually feed them while your loved ones just give them love and be there for them. You know? And then so the AI could do all the menial tasks, even go get out to bathing that loved one and never get tired. So it's a powerful of what we can actually do in this area. Now, we're going to back it back a little bit because we're going to talk about technology that's here, that's now. And the first technology we're going to talk about are memory aids. I'm sure you guys are familiar with memory aids, like you just mentioned, medication. You know, there's a lot of different pill medication apps, and I think you guys need to build some of those too. Yeah. So we have one over on the table here too, which is one of the, which is just a dementia clock, and it's a memory aid, and that can help the part of the brain where you lose your memory. And because my grandma would ask all the time, "What time is it? What time is it? What time is it?" And you know, when we didn't have as much knowledge, our family got frustrated. I was like, "Mama, why do you keep asking that?" You know, we hear that a lot. Oh, what time is it? So my mom went out and got the dementia clock on her own. Like, no assistance from me at all. She just went on. She said, "I need to solve this problem. What am I going to do for it?" So there are memory clocks. There are different apps that are out there. There are apps like MetaSafe, which you're probably familiar with. There are CareZone. All of these apps help remind us, and not only remind our loved ones, but also us for taking care of our loved ones. And we have some handouts in the back with the apps and information on it as well. And we also have back there, which is a great memory for when you go to the doctor. And I know you guys have one at the Alzheimer's Association, like a list of questions, because it's not always good for us to keep everything in our head, you know? And we may not know what questions to ask, so that information back there too, on the resource team. Like I said, on the top of people's list are safety devices, and there are many different safety devices out there. I mean, people have used air tags, they've used GPS trackers. There's all these different smart devices for keeping, and some people use 360 on their kids. So you guys are getting used to it. I don't have any. There's no worries about that. And also, I heard on your husbands as well. Yeah. And I know our. I used to like have our head of operations here. She's like, always keep track of it that way. So there are many different games, and there are many different apps that are out there where you can take care of your loved one. And you guys are familiar with. You guys know Matt from Map Habit.
Mhm.
Yes, definitely. And he's going to actually have a section in the show too later on. We've already talked, so really excited about that. And we'll be able to talk more about his app, Map Habit, out there. And we at HeartBeatFam, we also have apps that are associated with taking care of your loved one, and it's on your devices. Now, fun and games. Keeping the brain active is super important, especially for people with dementia. And one of the things, and we have a post around here, it brings loved ones together. I know with my grandmother, she was playing the card game, a memory match game, and my nephew, who was 8 at the time, he was able to play that game along with her. So that's a lot of great engagement that they can have together, working on different apps. And there's a lot of apps out there, which you guys have probably heard of, called them. Lamosity, Cognifit, Elevate. These are great games. Now, there is a little myth going around about using word puzzle, and that is going to really just help the brain completely. Most of the time, those type of apps are just providing a quality of care or quality of life for the loved one, because they don't always necessarily grow back neurons unless you're actually learning something new in the space. And I know there's a lot of debate about that out there. So communication apps. We're using a communication app right now called Zoom. And there are all these different, I don't know if people use FaceTime anymore, but FaceTime is a great communication app. So this is one thing that we can, I know we have some family caregivers, but we usually have a group of family caregivers. So even if you're like 2,000 miles away, which I was, we could have had better use of communication apps with our loved ones. Because many times the brain can't really tell if you're really there or not. And providing that engagement is good for the loved one. So this is something for distant family caregivers, because yes, you can be a family caregiver at a distance and make the money that you need to make, and then provide for your loved one as well. So there's also different AAC apps where you can actually, and I know it's a little challenging sometimes when someone is dementia and they're using an assisted app for words, but we're working on one that the sport dementia. I know when families grow up with AAC apps, it's a lot easier, but for dementia, it's new information for them. So we're working on one that makes it easier for them to use it.
What's an AAC app?
AAC app is like when you actually, it's a board that has like different words on it, and then you actually choose the words and you can make a complete sentence out of it. Yeah. So yeah, they're like speech assisted apps.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and we've been working on one. So yeah, you understand it makes a complete sentence. You with the words, you have the images.
How is it different than what they're using for young adults and children with disabilities? So like, how is that changing for people that have dementia? Are the images larger, the words more concise? How is that working?
And that's a very good point, because it really depends on where they are in their dementia journey, right? So one difference I can talk about is that it would be pictures of their family members on it. And you know, something they're more related to, but it has to be a lot easier for them to start using it. Yeah, and I mean, we have to do a lot more research. And you're gonna see at the end, we have focus groups, which we wanna have focus groups in DeKalb County. We have one with the Northeast Georgia Regional Commission to touch on those areas. And if you have any ideas of how it can be, yeah, that'd be good. We'll definitely talk, yeah.
So basically you customize the platform for the unique individual, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so like one of the things one of our partners does, she creates textbooks tools on how to help caregivers with dementia. She also built like a board game to help support those tools.
Cloud?
Yeah, cloud, right. Oh, yeah, okay, so cloud, right. So we go through like this gameplay that she set up, and one of the things that she thinks is very important in caregiving is like knowing who the person was before the dementia set in. Like they were an accountant, and they're like mentally like they still do accounting. It's like on this board, I could put like a calculator image. Someone could click it, and that would mean like I need to do my work or something. And we could kind of like so
And that sounds really like you can almost just simulate some work.
Sure.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I just came up with that too.
I've
But
seen articles on that, on
Yeah.
simulating work for people.
Yeah.
It was on Upworthy a couple weeks ago. There was this lady, and it was her daughter that was writing it. And she said, my mom was a school teacher, and she still thinks that she needs to get up and go to school or grade papers in the evenings and whatnot. So she would give her, like, I don't even know what kind of print offs of something. And she would sit there and grade these papers in the recliner, and she felt like she had purpose, and she felt like her tasks were being done.
yeah,
But it was, I mean, it's obviously not gonna harm her to sit there and grade papers.
absolutely.
My grandma does that in real life. She was like a bookkeeper accountant for a business. She has like an office in her home. Fortunately, she thought it had bought insurance, and she's able to stay in her home. So like multiple hours a day, she'll go sit in her office chair and just like fiddle around with a calculator or like toss some papers around, and like it's just like that. That's cool. You can simulate work digitally.
Right, and the key word is purpose. That's what we live for. Purpose, having a purpose in life.
Finish thought.
Yeah, okay.
Legally, where does this become an issue if you're installing cameras or monitors?
Oh, you've moved on.
Sorry.
And just left us.
And tracking too, I think
He's like,
tracking
okay,
is
come
a
on.
question of tracking as well.
Yeah, so, then let me finish my thought.
Sorry.
Purpose is so important. And if you talk to someone who's had dementia, and then some family members can tell them, you're not good anymore. That's reality. Or you don't have, and then they don't feel like their purpose, and that really speeds up the dying process. Yeah, I'm just saying with so many just being cautious in the words I'm actually saying. So that purpose, that engagement, so that is so key. And then you hit on the point, purpose in technology. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about technology for technology's sake. We're talking about purpose, adding that purpose. So how would you get purpose out of it? And I believe out of the Dear God app, you get purpose out of that too. So that's purpose, and that's like emotional therapy for me. So, and now we'll move on to cameras. Love it, Andy, I love it. Yes, sir.
No, same question. I'm just wondering, like, where do you, as a caregiver, start to have the right to install monitoring, whether it's camera or any other devices, without them knowing it?
Without who knowing it?
The people you're caring for. So let's, so like with our.
They don't have it in their 5 wishes, or they don't have it in their directives about that, the legalities of that?
Well, that, I guess, was that something we would need to do, or how does that work?
I would say yes. I'm going to tell you guys a few different situations here about cameras, and I'm going to talk about AI. I went to an AI symposium like a few weeks ago, and they use AI already in the doctor's office, ambient listening. And you guys probably used it. Your doctor probably used it with you, ambient listening. And they had a panel of 3 people up there. It was at Emory University, and they asked the professional, and they're using radiology to look at imaging. And the question was, does someone need to opt into this? Do they need to know about this? The answer from all 3, no. What are your thoughts? I mean, this is the same situation of cameras. What are your thoughts?
Well, to me,
as a patient?
To me, I'm just drawing from my career as a journalist, like places like Georgia where a one-party consent state, that means only one person has to know that a person is being filmed, and that can be you.
Mhm.
So to me, it just makes sense that that would also pertain to other people, especially like if you've got a power of attorney, it is your job
Yeah.
to make sure your person is safe. And if that's what you have to do, to me, it makes sense. I guess is long way. I'm just being
No,
long-winded saying it makes sense to me.
Saying, I think it makes sense to Andy because Andy's shaking his head. So I mean, yeah, the one party, and then, but what happens in California?
Well, I think your point about the power of attorney is crucial because at that point, and I'm looking at this from a few perspectives, like I have a camera in my baby's room, right?
Mhm.
I am her caregiver.
Mhm.
When you have the power of attorney, you're officially been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia. At that point, through power of attorney, you're responsible for that person's care and well-being. So I look at it as like a baby cam, like making sure they're safe, make sure they haven't fallen and broken a hip, things like that. That's where I would imagine the natural transition would be.
And I always bring up when you walk into Kroger's, Publix,
You're on
Mhm.
camera.
you're on camera.
Mhm. And we have actually had people who have asked, like facilities, like, can I put a camera in my mother's room or my whatever room, and they have been told no, which the state Supreme Court says yes, you can, because that is you are paying for that, it is your room. And so we have had to tell those people legally, yes, you can have it. They may not like you to have a camera in there, but you can absolutely have a nanny cam in there per state law.
Right, and families are asking for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the facilities are saying no, they can't do it. And it's a pretty big facility that said no too.
But then the person, at least one of them that I know of, he went back and he said, well, I have done my research and according to state law, I am allowed to have it. And they were like, well, okay, whatever. I mean,
They are allowed to have it just with, as long as there's a sign up front that says you are being recorded, that there's video
everybody
recording happening in
knows.
this room. So for those that are not wanting to be on video,
Yeah.
have a right to know and not be video. I think my concern for cameras is that families are using it as the babysitter or the caregiver because they can't afford services. As a care provider, I see this happen a lot. Well, we only need for 2 days a week because the other 4 days we have a camera, we're watching mom. Yeah, you're watching her fall. You're watching her set the house on fire.
Yeah.
You're still not
Is
there.
that your 24/7 care? Is
Right.
that your 24/7
And
care?
you're finding people are using it in that manner.
that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Because right now my aunt, who she lives in Houston, she has Alzheimer's, and one of her daughters is going to move in with her when that time comes, but she refuses that time right now. Like it is, she's like, okay, that's fine, but now is not that time.
Right.
So like they have cameras all over her house, and she knows that they do. She may have forgotten, I don't know, but it's but like you said, they do actually go over there every day. One of them is going over there and checking on her and staying with her for a while and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I could see how it would be easy to be like, oh well, we've got cameras, like
And I want to say there is a short answer to it. It's all new. That's the short answer. With the laws, with the cameras, with the AI, it's all new. There's a lot to be figured out. There's a lot to be figured out in Congress. God bless our souls. And any of that being figured out. And then we use cameras in my grandmother's house. And one thing that's about America that's different than others, we have generational homes instead of multi-generational homes.
oh yeah.
In Asia, it's multi-generational. My grandmother was 84 years old living by herself in her own home. That wouldn't happen in Asia. Because I stayed in India for 3 months, which was great. It was a total, complete experience. And those are multi-generational communities. So that's something we talked about. So for us, we were concerned about taking care of our loved ones, my grandmother, because my grandmother had fallen so many times and we wouldn't know until later. But with the camera, we know right away. And we are building actually technology around that where you can turn any phone into a camera. This is actually a camera, and it actually detects your faults. Now I know you're saying, no, don't let that be the caregiver for the person. But it's also very helpful too, and if you put some zones around them as well, to just have that additional camera. I'm glad we had this discussion, and you know, there's a lot of open discussion on this because there are some legalities. There's an opting in. You can also just create some quick forms that you can have because you have hospice or palliative care coming over that you can see whether they opt in, but they probably have to talk to their facilities. There's also a company called Ava. I believe it's Ava Sure, and they have cameras in the hospital. And I believe there's a company called Buzz Technology. Do you guys work with any cameras?
No.
Could you guys tell a little bit of what you guys do because it's similar?
It's really more an app that would solicit feedback from the caregiver or the patient themselves or client as appropriate in terms of how they're feeling, symptoms they're experiencing, collecting vital signs, either directly putting it in or pulling it from Bluetooth devices. So that's really more along the lines of what this does. It can do a virtual visit, but it's not designed to be a camera. Yeah.
And I think that whole camera discussion, that probably pretty much needs to be a whole nother discussion on that, so that in like moving programs. And I'd love to be a part of that too as well, you know, as it grows. Because it will. So now you guys are going to be like, whoa, now we're going to augmented reality after cameras? What are the legalities on that? These right here are $2,500 device. I promise you devices are going to come down in price. This is for augmented reality. Now, augmented reality and virtual reality, some people get those a little confused. Virtual reality is when you're immersed in an environment, and augmented reality is when you have your environment that's around you, and you augment on top of it. That's augmenting. So, what are the uses? Do you guys have any ideas of how, or have you seen any uses of VR in dementia care?
Not VR, but maybe like low-tech AR. The virtual dementia tour by Second Wind Dreams, that's a very low-tech augmented reality that you go through to learn about what it might be like to have dementia. I think, if that were to, maybe if they wanted to, which it doesn't sound like they do, have a virtual reality or like technology-based one, I think could be very beneficial for the future of dementia and understanding it.
Right. And it's more flexible. You can you can send it to a lot of organizations a lot quicker.
Well,
you don't have to physical devices.
I haven't
Right.
seen this done in dementia care, but I think it would be cool. Like we have one of the VR headsets at our house. And you can, like, I know they use them in schools, elementary schools, like kids can go on field trips using that, and they can, go through the pyramids in ancient Egypt, or they can visit, you name it, and they can go. So I think that's something like that might be cool to use in dementia care. Like say the person who has dementia loves to travel and they can't travel anymore. Maybe they put on the VR headset and go through Marrakesh, the markets at Marrakesh, or, places that they would never be able to go and experience that anyway.
Or that they have gone as a part of that.
That's true too.
Like the reminiscence.
Yeah, I could see that being a really good tool.
Right. And yes?
I was going to say, could it be used in ways where there's images of past family?
Ooh, that's a good idea.
The ones that are calling for their loved one that are, thinking that they see their mom or, and actually having it where they're immersed in their old home setting almost.
What do you guys think about that?
That would be cool. That would be amazing.
Okay, so you have a family who's passed on, and you put on the glasses, and they're right in front of you, and they use AI so they can actually talk to you.
I mean, my dad used to always talk to, like, he would look in the mirror and talk to who he thought was his uncle because he looked just like his uncle. So, I mean, and it was never a thing that upset him. It was always something that felt good to him when he felt like he was talking to his Uncle Phil. So maybe that could be something that would.
And I think it's right. I think it's all we're talking about. WMN, what matters most, is what matters most to that family member. Some people may disagree about seeing an older person pass on, in front of them. But if you are comfortable with that, that is a great tool. And I think that's with any of the technology here, that if it works for your family, it works for your family, right?
And
Yeah.
how far somebody's in their dementia journey.
Right.
You
Yeah.
just put somebody in there who's with behaviors and
Right.
Right.
actually a little much.
Because I know that my grandmother talked about a lot about what's that?
That just might be a little much for somebody really for like Lewy bodies versus, you know, what I mean, just depending on the type of.
Yeah, depending on depending on where they're being affected. And I know my grandmother talked a lot about California, where I used to live, and she talked about always going back to California and everything. He's like, I'm just gonna get on the plane, just go back and do it, Follows. She goes, because my name is Follows, and so it's like she put on the VR headset or the AR headset too. Yeah. So
That would
that's
be cool.
yeah. That is a great discussion.
And you know, too, they could exercise a little bit, like maybe do some chair aerobics with the VR headset on, because you can then, you know, I mean, you're not going to be like lifting weights and stuff, but I mean, like
But
just
you can't.
movement.
No, you can. You can. And it can sense where you're lifting weights, and then it can be programmed into the headset as well. You
I
can.
don't know though, because VR, you've seen it on, you
Are
know,
people falling?
they're falling, they're throwing things, the TVs are.
It makes me
broke.
so dizzy.
It would be different.
Like,
It would be
yeah.
different for it. It would be different.
That's why I said chair aerobics.
Maybe.
Yeah, they stand up, there could be an
It has to
issue.
be a
Yeah,
Right.
a very secure environment.
Exactly.
Yeah, very. Yeah, that was something you have to go and like make sure that Rec and Brandon get it right on the after they develop. You know. Yeah, Rec and Brandon with Pony Engine. So now we're gonna have a special guest come up here.
I don't know that I need to come up there necessarily, you think?
You can talk.
All right.
Because I think-
Well, and we were talking, I think the last slide was about telehealth, or what does it say exactly?
Yeah, AR, VR, but telehealth.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It was the, I think the one before this one. But yeah, we were talking about ways that, especially in rural areas, that there is some challenge to being able to access things that are online, in particular broadband. And, you know, in Georgia, we take for granted living in Atlanta, but there are many, many rural areas in Georgia where folks can't access broadband for their healthcare visits or you know, other services. And we partner with Georgia Memory Net, and anyone who would like a telehealth visit, that either for the comfort of technology or lack of broadband in those rural areas can go to a health department, and it's outfitted with the equipment to securely allow them to have that telehealth visit. So, you know, thinking of creative challenges that creative solutions to challenges in those rural areas where access is limited, I think could extend to dementia care. You know, you're talking about, you know, accessing caregiver information. If someone were in one of those areas with limited access, could libraries be outfitted with, you know, some tools and some prompts for them to be able to access some of these tools? You know, because it wouldn't need a secure healthcare environment necessarily, but it could be that local community kind of touch point that has the access
Right.
and the internet capabilities. So
Can I piggyback off that too?
yes, please do.
Because the infrastructure is already there.
Mhm.
We have the infrastructure spread out to all of the communities where you have the infinite libraries, and that infrastructure is there, and then just bring the technology at that central point,
Great idea.
and then people can just come in for that technology.
You don't have to have the, you know, if it were therapeutic, an AR, VR situation in everyone's home,
Absolutely.
but maybe there's something that with a caregiver, somebody could go and, or even like
A
for
VR room.
or for caregivers to have like
Oh, yes.
relaxation, or
Right.
I mean,
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
that is true.
right? I mean, there could be
Right.
all kinds of things that could be
Right.
helpful to folks. That it's not about caring for the person with dementia, but also for
Right.
caregivers directly.
We have VR gaming space in LA, and like movies, VR movies that you
Oh,
can
yeah.
actually go into.
And that's cool that you mentioned that, because like with the VR headset, they have like meditation and
Yeah.
relaxation
Right.
things, and like
So now, let's talk about wearables, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
Oh yeah.
And the Fitbits. I actually put a Fitbit on my grandmother, and she loved it. She kept that one on it. Now the I guess the EMS device that she had around her neck, she took that off. She's like, no, I don't want this thing around my neck on me at all. But there are different wearables that are out there that people have to look at their heart rate, and all that's related to telehealth and getting that information in, providing information. And I want to introduce you guys to a new wearable today called Iona. I'm actually wearing Iona around my neck. And what it is, it's not for the actual loved one, the heartbeat, it's for the caregiver. So the caregiver just simply talks to Iona and tells Iona about all of their situations and what they're going through. And Iona will use AI to go out and find resources for that loved one. And
How
for
do
that-
they
that
deliver
caregiver.
it to you? Is it an email that comes back, or does it talk to you, or?
It communicates on your phone as the device, and it also talks to you. Yes.
So with the Dear God AI that you demonstrated, the Bible, the King James Version was the source.
Mhm.
So tell us about the source of Iona.
So the source of Iona is written by our crew, and it is a 700-page caregiver summary, which includes caregiving tips, includes caregiving guides on certain information, information about dementia, and we're going to extend it to 1,500 pages. And we're looking at other organizations also to bring in. So for instance, like hopefully the savvy caregivers, and we can actually provide video through it to actually provide whatever you have, whatever situation you're going through, that video pops up. Or this video just taps you, or you're just going to have it on you, says, hey, why don't you take a look at this? This could help you with your grandmother or your grandfather. Yeah, so it's our own proprietary source. And we're looking at working with other organizations to do that as well, to bring that into our knowledge base. So, and that's Iona, and she's going to have many different pieces of her, and with every family caregiver that can wear it, they can almost wear it as a walkie-talkie and be able to communicate with each other. And mainly it's about purpose, it's about having that communication like my grandmother's always with me. Yeah, so it brings a lot to family caregivers. So that's the direction we're going with technology, guys. So technology is not about just technology for technology's sake or building greatest and coolest things. For me, it's about family. It's about family caregiving. Because I know about the challenges that my family went through, and I'm looking forward to helping other families with the knowledge that I do.
There's a organization that we just partnered with called eLife. I'm not sure if you heard of them.
Yeah, we have their card right there.
So
Right behind you.
Bryce and Charles.
Yeah, Bryce Folsom, the
Yes,
Folsons.
yes, and so
The dad is amazing.
right.
Charles.
So if you already know them, then that's awesome. But they have a nice technology.
Right. Do you want to explain what theirs is?
Sure.
Because it's on the table back there too.
Sure. So eLife is a wearable bracelet. And what we actually did was all our new clients, they get that from us as a gift. And inside of the bracelet is all their medical history. So much like if a paramedic shows up or you're in the store or anything happens, the cell phone simply can scan that QR code and that person's medical information pulls up everything about them, whatever the family downloaded. So, I mean, from medical history, physicians, medications, last hospitalizations, like it's an entire MAR.
That's huge for
Yes.
us, just for mom going to the doctor. Because
That's
we
it.
have to pull
And
out
that's
this
what it is.
list of all these
eLife,
surgeries.
It's called eLife. Charles and Bryce Folsom. And yeah, so
Are they here?
they are here.
That's cool.
Huh.
And I want to say that Eli is actually one of our supporters.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, there they are.
Yeah, that's the.
One thing that I'm hearing over and over that I think is so interesting is my mom doesn't have dementia, but she's 83 years old. She's living by herself right now, and the sibling group is deciding that we are probably going to start having a conversation with her about assisted living in January, because we feel like she's probably at that spot or close to it. And she doesn't have dementia, but her processor only works on one thing at a time. So like you can't give her two pieces of information because she will get it all jacked up. Like you can only give her one piece of information at a time. Like you have to be very specific about, all kinds of things. But what I'm seeing as a common thread through this stuff is even though she doesn't have dementia, we could use all of this for her too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just like trying to get all of it, take all of it in.
Right. It's almost like one of the apps. An app would be her. I mean, if you bring up Map Habit is a visual mapping. It also has video mapping in it as well, where it could whatever she needs to do, it'll put those things in order if she has those challenges. But if she has single thread processing, whatever AI can actually take that information and actually break it down for her. Iona would be perfect for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and this would be something that, you will wear it as a caregiver, but she can also wear one herself if she needs that piece of it. Just breaking it down, I need to do this, this, and this, and this. And it says, hold on a second. Let's just work on this. And then let me know when it's done.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying a minute ago about, families kind of deciding what's right for them. I think that that's really important. As the Alzheimer's Association, we don't endorse one product over another, but I think just educating and introducing folks to what they might want to consider, to really enhance their care and connection.
Right.
That education I think is helpful. And we were talking about, one of the things that we promote is our 24/7 helpline. And having folks connect to information, connect to care consultation, highly trained folks on the other end of the phone, and how Iona wouldn't replace that, but maybe it could enhance or partner, or there would be some cases where someone would be more comfortable having a conversation through a helpline versus a different kind of use for something like a supportive device. So I think, just not saying there's one thing, but considering kind of all the ways that they could blend is an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because one doesn't have to replace the
No,
other. It works in conjunction with, which is also an important thing, I think.
It's just making sure you have trusted resources. I think that's one piece of it. So you don't have the kind of AI that's led by evil. You have the AI that's the helpful, good, trusted resource.
So the AI course is done. You got that. You just brought up a great point, because it's almost like it would be something new. An organization can have a consultation service for technology for family. Let me analyze your family to see the situation. Yeah. This is from your mouth. This is from what I gathered from what you said.
I know there's a field for like driver safety, and there's with occupational therapists or home safety coming into the home and assessing everything from fall risk on a rug to to grip bars and things. But considering
and in rural
technology.
Rural areas, Iona actually has a camera on the back end that you'll be able to scan your home. And then get that emergency preparedness.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's technology.
Yeah.
Hey, I was like, wait, that's
Speaking of special guests.
Exactly. You do have a special guest. Does everyone know Maria?
Hi, I'm
No.
Maria.
Some of the board, she's your dementia care specialist. And this is what we talk about the dementia care specialists in the areas. In my area is Katrina Obey. We like to get the word. So Maria, if you'd like to have something to say.
Okay.
And pass out your cards.
Yeah, I have a couple
So
of my business cards here. I'm the dementia care specialist for the Atlanta Regional Commission. I've worked in aging and memory care for almost 8 years now. Worked really from the bottom rung, serving in food services in a luxury senior living community, all the way through memory care during the pandemic, and now doing it on the what they like to say is the quasi local government side of things. And yes, but I love learning about dementia, obviously. And so I'm here if you need questions answered about outreach, or if you have clients that need referrals over to the MAC. the memory assessment clinic. Ours is Grady, and then we do have a couple that go up to Augusta, depending on what county they're in. Since we serve a 10-county area, like Fayette, Cherokee, Douglas, in that area, and then all
And
the way
probably
down.
Gainesville too, right?
Oh yes, we do have it in Gainesville as well. Yes.
Maria works really closely with Kim. She left at just the wrong time. But Kim Franklin is our senior program manager for the Atlanta area, all the way over to Athens. So she works with Katrina. But all of our program managers in the state work very closely with the dementia care specialists, because we found that we do similar things, but not the same thing. So when we talk about helping families, a referral to both is really helpful, because there are things that Maria can provide, and there are things that the Alzheimer's Association can provide, and we all want to help. We all want to be a part of that team. So I'm glad that Kim and Maria work so well together.
How would people find you as a resource? Like if I were going through an issue where my mom needed help, like how would I find you and figure out?
Yeah, you can call in Powerline. I can't remember the phone number off the top of my head, but if you type in on Powerline online, it'll you can either send in an email, or you can call them, and then it's kind of like a help desk of sorts.
And in Georgia, there's one number. They say there's no wrong door or something like that, for all of the numbers. Is that right? So, it would help find wherever somebody is.
Yeah,
So you don't have to know, am I in Maria's area or Katrina's area or one of the other 10, 12 total?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you don't have to know
Yes.
that, then you call the one number. I should have that number memorized like I do our helpline number.
But it's also one of those things, like if you do end up calling and then we're out of the region of your person, your loved one, we can always refer you out to that place. Because I got a call once for Three Rivers, because someone saw my name and they had recognized me from something else, and they thought, oh, like she must know, like have access to it. And while I have access to the contact, I can't necessarily do anything for them if they're in Carrollton, Georgia. And I also have some contacts for Alabama, so if you ever need resources for Alabama, I can do that. Help you out.
What area in Alabama?
I mean, you tell me, and I can get you the name of someone at that AAA. I worked in Alabama for 2 years, so.
We're going to say goodbye to our online audience. And let me see, I'm going to end the stream here for us. Oh, yeah, we had an
And it's
audience.
recorded, it'll be on YouTube.
Yeah.
I did get a note from one of our board